Hey everyone, this is Video Game Love here, and it's been a while since I showed you guys off my Sega Game Gear Collection. There's two reasons why I wanted to do this video, and let me just see if it can... Yep, they'll stand. The reason why I wanted to do a Sega Game Gear Collection video was for two reasons. One, I haven't done one in about a year and a half, to close to 2 years. I think the last time I did one was in August of 2023. And my collection has actually grown significantly well. And number two, I really want to make this video for Megadan29 because I have to thank him for that live stream he did at the start of the year. He has a modded Wii and he's able to play like Sega Game Gear games on it. And like when he did that live stream and seeing him enjoy the Game Gear, it kind of got my Game Gear spark back. Because now I'm just like really obsessed with the Game Gear. I want to see if I could buy a couple more Game Gear games. But mostly I've just been playing the Game Gear a lot more, as you can see on my recent live streams. Really love the Game Gear a lot. It's one of my favorite handhelds. And I just don't think it gets as much love by the gaming community as it should. I mean, yeah, I know it has its issues. 6 AA batteries lasts about 4 hours. And even with this modded Game Gear I have, it still hogs up batteries. And of course, the bad capacitors. And I'm going to say this up in front. You're going to have to pay a lot for a Game Gear now. Because almost every Game Gear now is recapped. There's nothing you can do about it. Because the Game Gear was just packaged with bad capacitors. Now, you can get a Majesco Game Gear, and that's what I had for the last, 3 years. But I just really wanted, a Game Gear that is very, very colorful, very beautiful, bright screen. I'm going to show it off to you in just a sec. So here's the Game Gear. The beautiful, modern, backlit screen just looks so amazing. So I just wanted to show that off. Yeah, and since then I've just been playing the Game Gear a lot. So now let's get to the collection. So obviously this is the Sega Game Gear. Love this handle a lot. I also have this. This is the traveling bag. Well, kind of like a traveling pouch. There was a traveling case that I used to have. I actually had it for Puerto Rico, but I like this way more. It's much more smaller and it's way more convenient. And I just love putting the Game Gear in this. It's able to hold an adapter and a couple of games. It's really good. I highly recommend getting this Game Gear traveling pouch. So anyways, let's get on to the collection. We're going to start off with some box games. Now these are the custom cases that I have for the Game Gear, and I plan on getting more. We have Primal Rage for the Game Gear. This is a custom case. There was a seller in the Southeast Game Exchange. I really hope he comes back, and I might scoop up some of these cases. And there's the game. I did a playthrough of this version a long time ago, and it's actually a really good version of Primal Rage. Looks amazing for the Game Gear. It plays pretty well on it. I really like Primal Rage on the Game Gear a lot. But what's hilarious though was, you notice how the back, it does have the Game Gear images, but when I first got this case, it actually had the Saturn images. So they swapped it out and they gave me a new one. Next we have Mortal Kombat. Of course, Mortal Kombat on the Game Gear. Here it is right here. It's an okay version. It's much better than the god-awful Game Boy version, but it still has its issues. The endurance matches are just flat out bullshit in that game. Goro is really hard in that game, so I don't really play it all that much. Mortal Kombat 2 on the Game Gear. This is the last custom case I have. Looks amazing. They did an amazing job with it. And here's the game. Mortal Kombat 2. I actually had to buy another, I believe I had to buy another copy of this game because the one that I used to have just didn't work anymore. Really strange. Now here we have two official cases, but these, the loose carts are in the bin. We have the Jungle Book. I actually still have to beat this game. I've never beaten this game or this version. And Deep Duck Trouble, starring Donald Duck. This was made by Majesco, the case, and if you didn't know, around 2000 or 2001, they re-released the Sega Game Gear. So, really interesting. Alright, now let's get to the loose games. And we got a lot. Oh, hold on. Actually, I'll start off. Oh, okay, I already got it out. Okay, so we'll start off with this game, Shinobi on the Game Gear. Love this game so much. It's a very good game for the Game Gear. Last level can be very tough on your first try, but it's a really, really good game on the Game Gear. One that I highly recommend. And here's its sequel, which I think is even better, Shinobi 2: The Silent Fury. Really awesome game for the Sega Game Gear. I mean, these are two really, really must-have games for the system. So, like, if you're shopping for a Game Gear, I highly recommend these games. Ninja Gaiden. This is the weird Ninja Gaiden game for the Game Gear. It's pretty decent. It's obviously not the best Ninja Gaiden game. It's really easy, but still a good game, though. So, like, if you want, like, a Ninja Gaiden game that's not too hard, then pick that one up. We have X-Men Mojo World. I did a speedrun of this game a long time ago. And I want to say this up in front. This is the best X-Men game on the Game Gear, and that's not saying much because the X-Men games on Game Gear were fucking terrible. The first X-Men game, oh my god, that game was bad. That game was absolutely terrible. You know, it's funny that Mike Matei thinks that the second game was bad. I think the first game was even worse. The second game was a little bit better, but not by much. Mojo World's only good because you could play as Rouge and you could just fly around. The Game Gear version of Streets of Rage 1. I actually paid a good bit for this game, I'm not sure why. This version is okay. I still would prefer the Genesis version, but it still plays pretty decent on the Game Gear. So, I'm trying to see if I can find the sequel, but I'm not able to, so I'll have to come back to it at a later time. Here we have The Lion King. I know J.J. Wilson has this game in his Game Gear Collection. Here it is. I actually beat this a while back, and it's not as hard as the Genesis or the Super Nintendo version, but it's still really damn fucking hard. It's still a really hard game, and I only paid $1 for this back in 2017. A lot of these Game Gear games I got real cheap. Here we have Bugs Bunny's Double Trouble. This I found in my thrift store back at the end of 2021, and I freaked out because I never ever seen Game Gear games in my thrift store, and the fact that I was able to find 2 Game Gear games was incredible. This game is okay. I remember it being kind of a pain in the ass, but it's still not a bad game though. I did eventually beat it, so pretty decent game. We'll come to that game later. No. I'll go with this game. T2, the arcade game. This is a really good version of this game, believe it or not. Much better than the Game Boy version, and for a 8-bit portable version, it's really damn good. It's a really good version of the game. So, if you want a good version of T2 on the go, I only recommend this version. It's really, really good. I actually really would love to have that game on its custom case. MEA Jam Tournament Edition. This was the other game I bought in the Southeast Game Exchange back in 2017. And I think I also got Aladdin. I only spent $1 on this game. Yes, that is right, $1. I only spent $1 on NBA Jam Tournament Edition. It plays pretty well. It's a good version, nothing amazing. World Series Baseball. I only got this because this was really cheap. It plays okay on the Game Gear, but there's really not much to say about it. Here is the other game that I found in the thrift store, Super Columns. It's actually a little bit messed up, but it still works. I actually like this one much more than the original Columns because there's like other game modes, so I actually prefer that over the original Columns. Adventures of Batman and Robin on the Game Gear, and I'm not gonna lie, this version sucks ass. And all comes the one fatal problem. The jumping in this game is just terrible. And it sucks because it looks great on the system, but it's just not very fun to play. And it's kind of weird because it's made by Nova Trade, who did the Echo the Dolphin games, but they didn't do a good job on that version. Oh, here's Streets of Rage 2. Here's the Game Gear version of Streets of Rage 2. Really good version. It may obviously not be as good as the Genesis one, but it's still really good, and the music in this game is really good. Very good in this game. Same with the Shinobi games. Well, here's Aladdin. Aladdin for the Sega Game Gear. A really good version of Aladdin. Plays really well in the Game Gear. There are some sections where you're like running with Jasmine that can be a little bit annoying, but it's a really good game. I think I have done a playthrough of this game before. I have to see, but this is a really good game. Really good game. Psychic World. I actually beat this game a while back, and I remember this game being really hard. And it's because if you die, you start, I think, right where I think the checkpoints are very unfair in this game. I don't remember this game a whole lot, but I remember it being pretty damn tough. I'll just put the Streets of Rage down here. We got Cool Spot for the Game Gear. I did a playthrough of this version a while back. It's a pretty solid version of Cool Spot, but it's missing some levels. But honestly, I'm glad they cut some levels, because holy Jesus, though that train level and the toy levels, they're not all that much fun. Here we have The Lucky Dime Caper, starring Donald Duck. And I'm trying to find its sequel unless did I already found it? Okay, we'll just go with this game for now. So, The Lucky Dime Caper starring Donald Duck, an early Game Gear game, and it's a lot of fun to play. Very simple, but still a really good game on the Game Gear. Batman Returns. I did a no-death run of this game. This game is amazing. I love this game so much. It's made by the same people who did Shinobi. Yuzo Koshiro did the music. It's so damn good. Very good game on the Sega Game Gear. I'm actually gonna have to start. Yeah, let's do that because I'm gonna stack up some more games here. Chakan for the Game Gear. I gotta get into this one. As I mentioned a long time ago, this version is actually easier than the Genesis version. They simplify some levels and it actually plays better than the Genesis version. So if you think that the Genesis version was just unfair, check this one out. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Alien 3 for the Game Gear. I believe this is the European version. I got this on Facebook along with a couple other games. I think the same one with Lucky Donald Duck. I haven't played a whole lot of this version, but all I remember was it was tough. So, okay, there goes this game. We'll get to that in a moment. Here is Jungle Book. It should go in the cartridge. I mean, the box of Jungle Book. So, just had a little bit of a brain fart right here. I'm still looking for games. Okay, we have the Castle of Illusion trilogy for the Game Gear. So we have Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. One thing that's really bizarre about this version is I don't really think it's the Game Gear. It's more so a part of the Master System. Because every time I play this game, the screen is like really small for some reason. I don't know if that's a cartridge thing, or I just think that that's just how it is. But regardless, though, this version is actually really good on the Game Gear. A really good version. And here is Land of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse, which is a really good game. A great follow-up. And Legend of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse, which picked this one up a while back in 2021. A really good game. I really enjoyed this one a lot. I did a playthrough of this game a while back. So, really good game. Here we have Columns, the original Columns. There's not much to say about it, and it's just a simple-ass platformer. Megadan29, I only bought this as a gag. I think I got it because I wanted because I wanted to pick up a Game Gear game. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. Both games are phenomenal Power Rangers games. Must-have games for the Sega Game Gear. They're simple but addictive fighting games / beat 'em ups. They are very good on the Game Gear, and they're very cheap too. So if you're trying to build up a Game Gear collection, highly recommend picking these games out. I actually have a video I might do later in the month about cheap Game Gear games to get to instantly build your collection up in no time. So, but we're running out of room, right? Taz and Escape of Mars. I haven't really played a whole lot of this version. I only got it because it was really cheap. But I still got a hell of a lot more Game Gear games, guys. This video is almost 16 minutes, and I'm still going. Let me move the camera just a little bit back. We have Bearstein Bears Camping Adventure. I got this because it was like $6. It's actually not a bad game. It's not a bad platforming game. I just bought it because John Hancock had it. Tom and Jerry the movie. I actually remember this game being okay, but this game barely works. I cleaned this game many times and it just barely works. So I don't know what the hell that's all about. Megadan29. This game means a lot to me. Do you want to know why? This was the first Game Gear game I ever owned. And I had this game long before I had the Game Gear. And this game was in the thrift store forever. It was like in there for like a year. And it was like, okay, no one's gonna buy it. I bought it. It was only, I think, $1.95. So that's why I got it. It's the first Game Gear game I ever owned. And very interesting, they once had a Game Gear and I just never got around to picking it up. Ren and Stimpy, The Quest for the Shaven Yak. This is a really good game. One of the best Ren and Stimpy games, actually. It's really tough, though. I remember it being a really tough game, but I haven't played it in a long time. Alrighty. Jurassic Park and The Lost World. Jurassic Park is really good on the Game Gear. Very fun game for the system. Very simple to play. If you really want a really good game on the Game Gear, check Jurassic Park out. It's really good. And here's its sequel, The Lost World. This game is actually a little bit pricey. It's about $30 to $40 because it came out in '97. And this one's actually a lot of fun. It's really short though. But it's a simple run and gun game. We got NBA Jam. Finally found it. The original NBA Jam. Classic as always. I believe J.J. Wilson has that game too. Garfield Cognac. This version is not that good. I believe that there's actually some levels that weren't in the Genesis game. But man, I just cannot get used to it. It's that frame rate. It's so choppy. It's such a choppy ass version. I finally found it. I knew this was, here it is. Deep Dug Trouble. This is the cartridge of it. Really good game for the Game Gear. Let's see. Devilish. This is a really unique game for the Game Gear. It's like Breakout, but you could move your paddles around, and it's kind of like a puzzle game too. It's a really good game. I remember beating it a while back. So really cool game. Alrighty, I guess I'll show off these two. Ristar and Dynamite Headdy, both were on the Genesis. Ristar is a really good version for the Game Gear, a really good version for the system, but it definitely has spiked up in price lately, and all the other Game Gear games are starting to spill. Dynamite Headdy is okay, but there's a lot of cuts to this version. A lot of cuts to Dynamite Headdy, and it's okay, but it's not the best. We have Echo the Dolphin on the Game Gear. This actually is a really good version. It plays really well. And the Tides of Time, which I believe I got both of them in the 2023 Southeast Game Exchange. This one is really good. I actually beat this one. I actually beat this before the Genesis version. I really enjoyed that version a lot. Echo the Tides of Time. I'm going to put this here and put some more Game Gear games here. We have Halley Wars. I only paid $5 for this game, and it's funny because I've seen this game go for about 25 or 30. One of the few shmups on the Game Gear, and it's a really good one. But the thing about this game is you have to make sure that your base doesn't take much damage, because your base takes too much damage, you end up getting the game over. So you have to be careful. And then Aerial Assault. Another shmup. I only paid, I believe, $3 for it. Really a common game. Not a bad shmup, but nothing really special. And last but not least, we have all the Sonic games that I have. So let me begin. Sonic 1. Of course, these are very common games. A really good version. Sonic 2. I think I rebought this. I got rid of it a while back, but here it is, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I never got into that version because, holy hell, that version, let me tell you something, is really freaking tough. Really freaking tough. Sonic Chaos. This is one of the first Game Gear games I ever bought. For my first Game Gear. It's a really good Sonic game, and it's probably my favorite of the Game Gear Sonic games. Here we have Triple Trouble. This is everyone's favorite. I like this game a lot, but the only problem I have with Triple Trouble is that in order to get the best ending, you have to get the freaking Chaos Emeralds, and they are hard as hell to get. I don't know why they did that. I really don't know why they did that. And that was like the one thing I never liked about Triple Trouble. Sonic Drift 2. I got this in the 2024 Southeast Game Exchange. Really good, a pretty fun little racing game, but I just can't stand the rubber band AI. And one thing that kind of sucks about it is in order to get the best ending, you have to get first place on every race in the last level. It's really annoying. I'll just put it up here. Now we get to perhaps my holy grail, and I actually bought this game for $5. I wish, I'm not lying. I'll try my best to find the actual proof of it so you guys could believe me. Tales of Venture. This game is expensive. It's one of the rarest and expensive games on the Game Gear in the US. Because it came out late in the Game Gear. It's a really good game, but it plays differently. It doesn't play like a Sonic game. It's more like an adventure, Metroidvania platforming game. It's really good. Really, really good game. And the last but not least game that I have for the Game Gear, I haven't showed it y'all, is this game. Shining Force, The Sword of Haja. I paid $50 for this game. Really, very good Shining Force game on the Game Gear. But the interesting about this game is that we actually got 3 on the Game Gear, but 2 of them were only released in Japan. So this one is the second one, and they just renamed it The Sword of Haja. So, and one thing that's even more interesting was Shining Force CD on the Sega CD was a remake of 1 and 2 on the Game Gear. Really interesting. As far as the game goes, it's very good, but I mentioned this a few times in the past, that there's this spell called, I think, Freeze 2 or Freeze 3, but they made a big mistake on it and accidentally made the damage input like Freeze 4. So if you get hit by it, it instantly just kills you. That was like the only issue. But yeah, guys, that is my entire Sega Game Gear collection. It's gotten massive the last couple of years. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think this is like one of the longest videos I've ever done. So, take it easy, everyone. Video Game 1158, sign out. Peace.